Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Preview to our game against Spurs tomorrow at Old Trafford, and it is a big game. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like, let me know in the comment section what you think Ten Hag will be doing for the game against Spurs and what you actually think will be Ten Hag's future when this game is done in terms of a win, a draw, or a loss. What will Ten Hag's future look like after this game? So let's get into the preview. I'll start with Spurs. So Ange Postecoglou in his press conference, he did say that Son left the game against Karabakh in the week injured. That's why he was taken off. But he does think that Son will play. He just needs to check on him. So I do believe that Son will be part of the team. He is their captain. So there shouldn't be a case of will Son play, will Son not play. We have to predict that he will. And Spurs themselves have had a bit of a up and down, beginning to the season. Similar to us, with them only being one place above us in 10th. We are level on points with them. And this is a game for us to have to get the win. Spurs themselves will want to come to Old Trafford, will want to win, and they will have confidence. They won 3-0 in the week to Karabakh. And even though their team itself, you can say, oh, well, it's Karabakh, they are a team that Spurs should be winning. The Europa League is not something to take lightly. European teams tend to be much harder than a normal Premier League team simply because of the occasion. But Spurs themselves will have confidence. Their players will want to cause an upset. They will want to perform at Old Trafford. And they have performed there before. Spurs have come to Old Trafford in recent seasons and had good performances. But we need to ensure that that doesn't happen. We ourselves also had good performances, and we have a way of playing now that is recognizable and that we are starting to progress into. And we are starting to be more confident with the ball and more patient in our attack and picking our moments when to penetrate and when to pick up the tempo, if I have to put it that way. So for me, this game is important for Ten Hag. And the reason why I say that is because if we don't start being clinical, as it does say in the thumbnail, we need to be clinical. If we do not get a win against Spurs, it's going to be a nightmare in terms of the media pushing towards Ten Hag not being good enough, for him looking like a coach, a manager that does not know what he is doing. And the media kind of have this agenda of wanting to sack Ten Hag. They've wanted to do it since last season, and if he continues to get bad results, whether it is his fault, whether it is the players who cannot finish or they have bad performances, it simply will be put on Ten Hag and questions will be asked of him as to why we can't score goals, why we are not able to break teams down. And it's going to be the same cycle of last season when after every game it's going to be asked, if he wins, he stays. If he loses, it looks like he's going to be sacked. Even though Ineos comes out and they continue to say that they back him, they've showed that they back him with an extension on his contract, giving him the players that he needs. He was asked in the press conference about, should us as Man United fans be entitled to expect the team to be further forward in terms of where it is and what Ten Hag is trying to build with this team. And he was very adamant in saying that we are still in the process. We are still in a transition period. And with us having the new players that we got in, with the new structure being put in behind, things are not going to change overnight. But if you look at the metrics, if you look at the stats, which is something that I don't really look at because I prefer to look at the game for what it is, in its live action moments, I do feel that we have improved. We're not conceding as many shots. We haven't conceded as much goals as we did last season. We are much better structurally in terms of our defense. Our midfield is not that much open anymore. We seem to be much more confident building up from the back and playing through presses. There is a confidence in the way we play. The only thing that doesn't seem to be clicking and coming to its fruition is us scoring goals. And we top the log for big chances created and big chances wasted. And I said it to someone that I normally speak to. I said that if we actually had to convert at least 8 out of those 10 chances, let's say there were 10 chances, if we converted 8 out of those 10, we either laying in the top 4 or top of the log depending on the results. But we cannot become this great team that dominates teams, wins game after game, if we don't go through a teething stage, if I have to put it that way. some of the players are learning, new tactics. There's new instructions being given, coming from Rene Hack, coming from Ruud, coming from Ten Hag, in a different style of play that he wants to implement now because of the players that he has available. But Ten Hag should not be rotating too much. We saw a bit of a mistake, in my opinion, against FC Twente by bringing in Maguire, because even though he had a decent game, the one moment that came out, which was Maguire, having those lapses in concentration, that was the moment where we kind of were exposed. I know Eriksen was the one who made the error in terms of losing the ball, but there was a gap in the defense with Maguire rushing forward and putting himself to the ground and just not making himself and being embarrassed. So for me in this game, Ten Hag definitely should go with a team that is capable of playing out from the back and being confident with one another and more familiar with one another than other 11s that he's chosen. Onana, of course, in goal. De Ligt and Martinez, our number one centre-back partnership, will come into play again. The low at left back has performed well and should continue to do so until Malacia or Luke Shaw gets back fit. And of course, Mazraoui on the right, who right now is our best player in terms of performances each and every game. In midfield, I would go with a Ugarte, Mainu, and Eriksen midfield. I know you see Bruno there, but that's simply because I don't think Ten Hag has the balls to drop Bruno and put Eriksen in the 10. Eriksen was always a number 10, his natural position, plays there for Denmark, played there for Inter, played there for Spurs, and in his age right now, with him not having the legs that he has, he's lethal in finding space, in order to play those penetrative passes, to link up play, to control the game. And as a number 10, he would have that freedom with an Ugarte behind him, completely screening the defense, and Mainu doing some defensive work, but also linking up the play between the defense and the attack when we are trying to play the ball in build-up play or try and play through a press. Of course, up front, I want Xerxes to continue helping us with the link-up play. I am hoping that he also gets a goal. People are starting to question whether he is a goal scorer. He himself said he's a 9.5. He's not someone who's going to go and score goals. He wants to link up play. He wants to put players through on goal, etc. And that's okay. He reminds me of a Berbatov, who was also linking up play, very good at, being that man up top, trying to ensure that we progress the ball forward and keep it up top, So Xerxes should be starting up front, in my opinion. Højlund can come on in the second half, and he should at least get a goal in this game before the pressure starts mounting on him in terms of him getting goals for the season already. Left-hand side, I'm sure Rashford will start. And of course, on the right-hand side, Ahmad has to start. It is his position right now. So that is and will be the team, probably, in my opinion, that Ten Hag will go with. However, I'd be surprised if he starts a Ugarte, Eriksen, and Bruno midfield. I would be surprised if he starts a Ugarte, Casemiro, and Bruno midfield, because that would show a bit of more defensive solidity, but it would leave us one less player in the attack. And perhaps that would give Casemiro free rein to go a bit more forward, knowing Ugarte can cover the spaces that he maybe vacates, or when Casemiro does go forward, to try and help with the attack, then we can have an Ugarte behind him, simply screening the defense and plugging in those gaps that might be created if Casemiro maybe decides to press high with Bruno, Rashford, etc. This game in itself will give us space in behind, a game for Rashford, which is very good, a game for Ahmad as well, who can run in behind. Xerxes can drop deep, link up play, and then a ball can be played through to Rashford via Bruno, etc., or Mainu, or Martinez or De Ligt can play the ball straight forward. Mazraoui, we know, can also play through the lines. Ahmad is very good at finding a pass. So we will have various options to play against Spurs and how we would like to play. We know Spurs are going to come at us with, in terms of high pressing. They'll play a high line, and we ourselves can try and play through that press, or we simply can go over the top, knowing that the likes of Rashford, Ahmad, Garnacho can come on in the second half and run in behind. Højlund loves to run in behind, and against tired defenders in the second half, Højlund and Garnacho coming on can be lethal threats for the space that Spurs would want to leave behind by trying to press us and win the ball high. So we need to be clinical. This needs to be a win for Ten Hag, simply because of the fact that he needs to get wins on his belt. We need to start going on a consistent run so that we can start fully appreciating the good performances that we have been having. Because if we continue to have good performances with bad results, the pressure will mount on Ten Hag, and questions will start being asked whether he is the man for the job. they will start asking for him to be sacked. And that is just how the media is when it comes to Man United managers. One game we lose or draw and we are in a crisis. That's the standard that we have. Other clubs can lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row and nobody would care. And I'm talking about big clubs, you know. But when United loses or draws a game, it's pure chaos. Everybody wants the manager out. All the players are bad. Everyone is not good enough. And everybody just loses their minds and it's a meltdown. We need to be more clear-minded. We need to be more smarter and look at the bigger picture and see what Ineos and Ten Hag and the managing staff are trying to build with this team. But subscribe to the channel, drop a like, let me know what you think will happen in the Spurs game, what you think of Ten Hag, and who you would like to start in this game against Spurs. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the game, Red Devils. Hopefully we get to win. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.